What's up, RotoGrinders? Welcome to NBA Crunch Time. Happy Saturday, happy weekend. I'm your host, TJ Zwarich, joined as always by two of the sharpest minds in the biz, ready to break down this small, little, short NBA slate. Well, not short, it goes throughout the whole night, but still small NBA slate we got tonight. Helping me break it down, I got my guy, the Chief, Will Priester. How you doing, Will?
I'm good, man. Another day, another dollar. Glad to come in, talk with these guys. You wonderful DFS players, you. And it's a TWT weekend, so always fun when the band is back together.
Couldn't agree more. Excited to break this slate down with you, my friends, joining us as well. We got Tim Buell, Tasteful Tides. How you doing, Tim?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Always great to see you both. We have these regular weekend shows, it seems like, all year round. So I'm pretty excited to do these. I'm pretty excited for MLB. And it's been an awesome day of just kind of sitting back and watching NCAA tournament and some Xfinity NASCAR.
Hell yeah. Glad to hear it. Apologize for the little flash I have going here. I'm trying to deposit a check as we go. I just found it in my office, and it's been sitting here like, wow, I got to get this in, and I can't think about anything else. That's ADHD for you. But we got an exciting yet small slate today. And so, Tim, why don't you break us down what we're looking at tonight?
Yeah, so not a whole lot really when it comes to news. Unfortunately, one of the biggest pieces is LeBron James, and he's questionable, and that's kind of makes things a little bit more difficult just because it's it's the latest game on the slate, so you kind of have to account for that. Like if he were to miss, it would be a really, really good spot for guys like Luka and Austin Reeves. But in terms of like overall in the news, not a lot. Miles McBride is questionable. That would catapult Cameron Payne most likely is the best value on the entire slate. But those two are like the main guys. After that, we already know that Curry's out. So we're getting to a ton of Warriors in optimals and in Sims right now. And it makes a ton of sense just because of the usage. But we'll break all that down. But in terms of news, it's really just McBride and LeBron.
All right, Will, how many lineups are you playing tonight? How are you planning on attacking this slate?
I am playing 150. I am I'm proceeding as if LeBron is going to play. That's at least the way I'm building initially. But McBride does really have me hung up a little bit here because, if he's out, I do think Cameron Payne, as Tim already said, he's going to catapult to. God, he'll be a lock button, I think. So that has me jammed here a little bit. I have not hit the optimized button or the build button, if you will, in Lineup HQ just yet, or in the Sims, which I know Tim, Payne isn't showing up in the Sims yet, or is he?
I'm trying to see if I've got any of him at all in Sims, and I do not believe I have. Will, no, he's not.
Yeah.
No, actually, I'm wrong. Sorry, Will. I got to 9% of him.
Okay. All right, I assume I'm just assuming, like, I'll hit the button, but I'm assuming if McBride is out, he's probably going to be, completely optimal and probably start popping way more than that.
Yeah, we have an if then that the projections team made if McBride is out.
Yeah,
and
I think it was like plus 10 or something. Like when I it's crazy.
We'd be giving him 29 minutes and a little over 30 DraftKings points. So that would be an absolute smash at his very, very small price tag.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's start going position by position. Those watching on YouTube, smash the like button. Get your questions in. Go to the YouTube chat. Go to the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat. We'll go position by position. Start off here on FanDuel at the point guard position. Tim, I'll throw it to you. Who do you like?
Yeah, so I think the first thing we got to talk about is Brendan Pajemski, 6,100 on FanDuel. Point guard, shooting guard, you're definitely playing him at either one of those two positions. Absolutely amazing play. with Curry already ruled out. So definitely Pajemski. I'm getting to quite a bit of him in Sims on both sites, on FanDuel and DraftKings. But yeah, he's definitely going to be a core play, cash core. I see that Taylor Smith has him literally as a core play in lineup HU, and that makes a ton of sense because he's a fantastic play. Miles McBride, if he plays, I think is a really good play. I do like guys like Malik Monk quite a bit. I think he's fine for. Oh, okay. So McBride's still just a game time decision. Okay, so that's not helpful at all. So
don't you hate that one, Tim?
I did.
Oh, the GTD is awful.
It's not even like it's not a status change either. It's just like it's just like it makes no difference. So it's very odd. Yeah. So I like if spreading out. I like getting to Malik Monk. No, they're going to be without Sabonis tonight. The Kings are. So I think Malik Monk is fine in GPPs. Luka's probably too expensive if LeBron plays, but you could just take a chance that LeBron sits and play Luka. And I mean, you're going to get a ton of raw points out of him. So I don't mind Luka in large field GPPs, but mainly I'm going to be sticking around that Pajemski McBride pricing range, and then paying up. If I wanted to pay up and get a little bit different, I would say it's Malik Monk for me.
Yeah, same here, Tim. You convinced me. I was kind of going to match the field on Malik Monk, and you just kind of talking me through it. I decided to see if I can get to about 20% once I start, hitting all my buttons. I was gonna try to match the field at about 12, but once again, if this guy goes for 50 tonight, he's for sure going to be optimal. And so I definitely think that's a good call for tournaments. I think one of the sneaky tournament plays for me outside of the obvious stuff, like Rollins, people are going to play Rollins on DraftKings, but like Kevin Porter Jr. to me is like an interesting tournament play on DraftKings, Tim, where he's 4K. Wait a minute, were we just talking FanDuel or were we just talking in general? Let me make sure I'm.
Well, I think we were just talking FanDuel, but I mean, feel free to make a comment about DraftKings. I mean, we're talking about it all, so go for it.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. All right, cool. So I do think Kevin Porter Jr. is like interesting. He's 4,500 on FanDuel. He's 4K on DraftKings. I'm just saying from a tournament perspective on the cheap end, if he gets 25 to 30 minutes here randomly, I think he could put up a really nice score. But no Dame, I'm pretty interested. So I'm trying to get over the field on him also at the point guard position. And then last but not least, just in terms of, let's just call it FanDuel specific, So Luka's, here's the thing, Luka's 12K on FanDuel and he's 12.6 on DraftKings. And like, I totally understand, like, if LeBron plays, his upside is tapped, but it's still Luka Doncic, man, against the Chicago Bulls at 12K. He's really not popping in terms of ownership either. Like, I think Luka, like, might be one of the best tournament plays at point guard. But it's just obvious, and nobody's still going to play him today.
I like it. I'm with you, Chief. We were talking pre-show, and I asked you how many lineups you're playing. I knew how many lineups you were playing, but I wanted to, let it out for the people. And I said I was playing 0 because I had the birthday party for my daughter going on in my house all day. The people are still upstairs. I saw that the mini max still had some space. I just reserved 150 lineups, so I'm going to try and go through and build here as well. Are we finished point guard now on the shooting guard?
Yep.
Apologies. Someone's yelling at me from upstairs. I had to dip out for a second, but Will, who do you like shooting guard?
I like a fair amount of guys, man. I am just playing DraftKings tonight, so I'm a little biased, but I just think getting to put Podziemski even there, Torian Prince at 3,700 is a guy that I like. On the cheaper end, when we might get some other cheaper players also, I like him quite a bit. For 3,700 when they're playing the Sacramento Kings, hopefully he can have way less resistance to score a few fantasy points. So I like him. Gary Trent, similar situation at 4,100. Now, listen, Gary Trent has let me down, but I'm okay with squeezing him in here at what I would consider to be lower ownership. I'm kind of this Miles McBride news has me jammed, but I like these Knicks a little bit too much, I think, today. But when they're playing the Washington Wizards, what's not to like about getting them into your lineup? So Mikal Bridges is another guy that I'll be playing. And then, even though they're playing the Lakers, Kevin Huerter has been getting really nice minutes. So he's another guy I'll be considering as well on DraftKings.
Tim, how about you? Shooting guard. He's priced up on FanDuel for Ryan Rollins, but I still think at 4,800 he's very viable.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a core play. I mean, I know he's a little bit more expensive on FanDuel, but I don't really care. 4,800, I think, is a really, really reasonable price tag for him. So, I mean, that's definitely your kind of like your cash game play. Like and he's popping quite a bit in optimals and in sims. So, I mean, I think he's the guy today. I would try to get overweight him in GPPs.
And I didn't mention this. I'm glad you, Tim. I'm so sorry to cut you off. I do have the lock button on Rollins currently on DraftKings.
Yeah, I think that's a smart way to go about it, to be honest with you. I like that play quite a bit, just to get, just lock button him. And then if you're not playing Majemski at point guard, you're going to be playing a shooting guard. Again, Miles McBride, I think is fine. Kevin Huerter at 5,700, I think he's decent as well. Kobe White, I think is fine for GPPs. Really though, this shooting guard spot gets pretty fast. I guess you could go Mikal Bridges too. At 6,600, that would be a decent play just because the matchup is so amazing. But I am a little bit worried about a blowout in that game. But still, I think Mikal Bridges is fine for GPPs.
All right, take us small forward.
Yeah, so we're just going to be talking about a lot of Golden State guys once again. They're basically the story of this entire slate. So Jimmy Butler, 8,400. He's definitely going to be a core cash game play. I think he's a really strong GPP play as well. Jonathan Kuminga at 5,500. We saw him playing, he's been playing, I guess, around 25 minutes, this past week. So I think that's okay. He got up to 27 2 games ago. So hopefully, he can maybe extend it a little bit. We haven't projected for 26, which I think is fair. Hope maybe he has upside for a couple more minutes. That would be amazing. OG Anunoby, 7,300. He's small forward, power forward. I really like him for GPPs. I already talked about Bridges. I already talked about Huerter. Moses Moody at 4,800 if you need the savings. Probably, he's small forward shooting guard. I think he's an okay value spend.
Will, how about you? FanDuel small forward. Who would you be prioritizing here?
I don't really have too many guys outside of who Tim talked about. And at FanDuel, I'm just playing one lineup too. So it's I have a kind of a slightly different strategy, but it's definitely Jimmy Butler, I think. Like, he's probably the main guy. I'm okay with Mikal Bridges. I do think Kyle Kuzma deserves consideration. I might be a little bit higher on some of these other Milwaukee guys than the field, but even at 5,900 now, I like him much better on DraftKings where he's 5,400, admittedly. But even at 59, I think I'm fine with it. I like Kuminga. I'm fine with Risa Shea if you want to get to him. He's been okay. I'm fine with Gary Trent. I'm fine with Moody. I'm fine with Taurean Prince. As we start getting down to those cheaper guys, I don't really care who you put in. But I think Jimmy Butler is like the main piece there. If there's one guy, I think it's him.
I think I'm going to go very underweight on the Warriors in my MME build today, and I don't feel comfortable with it, but I wrote it up, this idea of doing this in the expert survey today, and with us still not having that Miles McBride news, I'm even more tempted to just either, if not fade, get very, very underweight. So I'll be doing.
Can they just give us the news, though? Like, come on, guys.
Power forward, Will, who do you like?
Oh, sorry. It's my turn next. I was about to go on a rant. Giannis Antetokounmpo on FanDuel. Man, it feels like another lock button. I don't plan to fade him tonight. Not with no Dame, and he's kind of out there by his lonesome. Him and the scrubs, if you will. So give me all the Giannis you can handle. I like him, quite a bit. And then it just gets down to some of the same guys I liked at small forward. Now this guy Vucevic from Washington, if you want to play him, he's popping on DraftKings at center right now. My goodness, he's got a really nice projection, but he's also a little cheaper. But if you want to get him in but he's center only on DraftKings, where you can get him at power forward on FanDuel. He's just a little bit more expensive, but he's paid off the price tag in limited minutes. Not saying that's going to happen tonight, but the projection looks good. So if you want to decide to get him in your lineups, be my guest.
Tim, how about you? Power forward.
It's so easy to play Giannis tonight that's likely what I'm going to be going with. He's power forward only on FanDuel. He's 11-8, but like I said, he's extremely easy to play. So I'm just going to be hunting for those raw points out of him. I already talked about Jimmy Butler and Kuminga. Vucevic at 5,100, as Will mentioned. He has power forward eligibility on FanDuel. I think he's a pretty strong points per dollar play. OG Anunoby, I already discussed as well. I think he's a pretty solid play. DeMar DeRozan at 7,800. I don't mind for GPPs. Same with like maybe a Josh Hart as well. But I mean, I think I'm mostly going to be just staying in this, high end with Giannis, and then for value, go Kuminga or Vucevic.
All right, take me to center.
Yeah, so pretty short slate. I would, Cat is definitely somebody who's intriguing, but not somebody that I'm necessarily. I don't think you have to play him on FanDuel. I know that he's definitely, he's probably going to be like the highest raw point center on the slate, but I don't think he's necessarily the best play. But if you have the money, you can feel free to play him. Center is pretty weak. Like Vucevic, you can play at center. Quentin Post at 4,300. I think he's an interesting pay down option at center. And then GPPs, Vucevic at 7,700. Draymond Green at 7K, and maybe some like Alex Sarr at 6,800. But really, center, I think you're either going up to Towns or getting one of these value guys like Vucevic or Post.
All right, Will, how about you? Center position on FanDuel.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same camp here. It's a very weak position, and I'm trying to decide whether or not I'm going to play Vucevic there or whether I'm going to play Post. I don't think I'm spinning up. I think the highest I go on FanDuel tonight is probably Vucevic for center. If I decide to go that route, I think that's the highest I go. It's Vuce. I was even considering Sarr. Like, he's been pretty good. I think I might consider him in this New York game. I think I saw someone mention Mitch Rob. I think I'm going to forego Mitch Rob on FanDuel and just play him on DraftKings, where he's pretty much 3K. I think that's what I'm going to do there. But on FanDuel, it's probably Vooch, Post, or Vucevic for me. Maybe Sarr, just because he's played really well recently. But that's where I'm leaning. I'll probably let center be determined by how much I'm left with here shortly. Can someone call the Knicks and tell them to let us know if what's his name? Jesus.
Miles McBride
is going to play. Oh, God. Like, why do NBA teams do this, Tim? TJ, like, the game starts in 24 minutes. Just
hour and 24 minutes. Hour and 24
right.
minutes.
Sorry, my bad. You're right. An hour and 24 minutes. So frustrating.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why if we don't get that before lock, then I'm definitely going to be light on that Golden State side of things. So I have lots of room to to navigate for the rest of those games. But before we switch over to DraftKings, my friends, we have baseball starting next week. Thursday is our first baseball show, and if you're playing multiple DFS sports, check out this sweet deal. For a limited time, get your first month of Combo Pro for $79.99. That's just $15 more than PGA Premium and $5 more than NBA Premium. Talk about a value play. It's the perfect time with baseball coming up, everybody. Plus, if you're just playing basketball and you want access to some of the most advanced NBA data in the market, get shot quality projections for Lineup HQ, rotogrinders.com/shot quality. You get your 1 month for access for $40, yearly for $200, or if you just want to give it a test run, try a 3-day pass for $9.99. Plus, if you're interested in some props, some pick'em plays, be sure to check out our props and pick'em package for a discount. The props and pick'em package features daily props pick and fantasy pick'em selections from many of your favorite RotoGrinders experts. Plus, we're knocking 50% off your first month when you sign up at the link down below, right down there in the description. So when you're hitting that like button for us, which we kindly ask that you do, also go down there and check out that link in our description below. Let's pivot over to DraftKings here. And we'll start with you for this one. Point guard position. Who do you like over on DK?
Which I guess I kind of been bouncing back and forth, but Ryan Rollins, lock button, no doubt about it. Probably one of the top plays on the slate. We've got him projected for 42%, which means in some of the single entry stuff, Tim, he's probably going to be pushing 50, 60 easily.
That might be low.
Yeah. I mean, he legit might be, Tim, you might even see 70, 75. He's a lock button for me. Podziemski is 6K on DraftKings, so he's another guy that I like. I mentioned, Kevin Porter. I think for tournaments for me, I don't think I mentioned them for the FanDuel side, so please forgive me, guys. But I do like Josh Giddey. I'm trying to get slightly above the field on Giddey just because he's been highly productive. So it's not like, I think that this matchup with the Lakers is going to be a cake matchup. But, I mean, he's been extremely productive down the stretch here. And so, if he happens to go for 50 again, I want to have him in my pool. If I was just playing one lineup, I probably would not play Josh Giddey. But, if I'm going to mass multi-enter, I'm going to do it. And I think I've just decided I'm going to take a stand. I think Miles McBride plays. So I'm going to proceed as if McBride plays. And then I'm also going to play Cameron Payne, if that makes any sense. I think that's about to be my approach.
I was just going to bring that up, Will, because I think you can play Cameron Payne anyway.
Yeah.
Even so, I mean,
It's not you guys playing Shamet? If McBride is out, would you guys playing Shamet?
I'm missing the last part of that sentence. I'm sorry.
Landry Shamet. Would you play any of them if Miles McBride is out?
Let me. I mean,
doesn't really do much.
No, I mean even if then we're only giving Shamet less than 15 DraftKings points with McBride out. So I don't think he would reject that well.
It's a good point. Very good point. Will or Tim, who do you like point guard?
Yeah, I mean it's very similar between DraftKings and FanDuel today. Not a lot of huge differences. Ryan Rollins is definitely going to be your chalk option, your value option, your cash game option. Definitely fine if you want to just lock button him in a 3 max, 20 max. He's a fantastic play today. So Ryan Rollins, Podziemski is probably better at shooting guard, but he is point guard eligible. We did just discuss Cameron Payne. He's a decent points per dollar, regardless if McBride plays or not. But I would say that McBride is a strong play if he plays. So McBride is fine for GPPs as well. I like Will's Josh Giddey call. I don't mind Kobe White, and I've talked about Malik Monk also at 8,100. I don't mind him in GPPs.
All right, take me shooting guard.
Yeah, so it's definitely going to be Podziemski in cash games. Then I think you can spread out a little bit in tournaments. Maybe Moses Moody, Mikal Bridges. I like quite a bit of Kevin Huerter. I mean, Taurean Prince is okay, but I kind of question his ceiling a little bit. But I mean, if you land on him as like a last piece, I guess that's okay. He does rate out pretty strong points per dollar, but I don't really want to play him in cash or anything like that. Kobe White and then Malik Monk.
All right, Will, shooting guard position.
I'm going now. So I've got the most exposure to Podsy at shooting guard. Just in general. Once again, I am going to play McBride. I'm going to play Malik Monk. I've got 20% Malik Monk, which is 8% over the field. I'm feeling really good about that. So I like him. And then everybody else is just kind of friends. Like I got some Mikal Bridges. I'm pretty much right with the field there. I talked about Kevin Huerter. I think he's a guy that's been productive. Now I've got some Moody, got some Dyson Daniels, got some Karis LeVert, got some Buddy Hield also on the low end, just in case Buddy Hield happens to, spray down the Chicago Bulls tonight. Don't want to miss out on that 30 fantasy point performance. He's probably not going to score 30 fantasy points, guys. I'm just kidding. But I do have some in the event that he ends up being one of the guys. But at the top, right now for me, my top three guys are Podsy, McBride, and Mikal Bridges at shooting guard on DraftKings.
All right, lead us into small forward.
All right, small forward. My top play right now I've got is Jimmy Butler. I've got 50% Jimmy right now. My next highest on guy is Kyle Kuzma, which I talked about him. I think Kyle Kuzma is actually really good today. I don't know, man. Maybe it's call it a feeling. The projection on him wasn't super high, but I'm pretty much double the field. Once again, I got 32% Kuzma. I just think he's too cheap for what his upside could be in this game against the Bulls. So I really like him a ton on DraftKings. Once again, I do have Josh Giddey, got Mikal Bridges. I've got a bit more Zachary Risache, I think, than the field. Also playing some OG, and everybody else is just kind of guys that I played at other positions like Hield, LeVert, Moses Moody, etc. But Butler and Kuzma, my top two. Butler, Kuzma, and Giddey. Got 50% Butler, 32% Kuzma, 25% Giddey. Those are my top three exposures. And if I start lagging, it's because I'm about to go through my lineup upload. So just bear with me. I promise I will get back in line.
I just got one set of lineups in right now for if we don't get McBride news before lock. I have 20% McBride and 20% Payne. But if we do get the McBride news that he's out before lock, and I'll leave that if McBride's in, because I still think Payne is fine at 3,100. But if McBride happens to be out, I got another set of lineups ready to go with a lock button on campaign. Tim, who do you like at small forward?
Yeah, I don't mind the Kyle Kuzma call at 5,400 that Will made. I like Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby. They're both under 7K. Should play pretty big minutes at a really amazing matchup. Jimmy Butler's your cash game, like core play of the slate. I think Josh Hart is an interesting pivot away from Jimmy Butler in like larger field sets. But definitely getting to Butler in cash games. Moses Moody, 4,900. I like quite a bit on the lower end. And then I do like the Zachary Risache call. And then if you need somebody like last piece, I think Gary Trent at 4,100 is a strong play as well.
All right, take us to power forward.
Yeah, so again, Giannis is super easy to play on DK and on FanDuel. So I currently do have Giannis today at 12K on both DK and FanDuel. So I'm paying up for the raw points today. Again, Jimmy Butler's a fantastic play. Jonathan Kuminga, I think, is a strong value in any format. Trey Lyles at 3,600. I think that he's a pretty interesting GPP salary saving option. And then I've already talked about guys like Josh Hart, OG, and Kuzma.
All right, Will, how about who you like in power forward?
Just got my lineup built in, so I'm feeling really good now. Now I think just give us the actual McBride news. I can really hammer this thing. but I do have him currently. Power forward, I've got tons of Giannis. If this thing holds true, I'm gonna have about 50% Giannis, but the field's at 30%. So I'm feeling really good about that. I got 30% Kuminga. Obviously, I've got tons of Jimmy Butler. I'll be slightly over the field if that holds. I've got half my lineups with Jimmy right at 50. Still got some recent shade. Got some OG. Got some Trey Lyles. I've got 13% Trey Lyles. Fields projected to have about 8% or closer to 9, 8.79 to be exact. I'm under the field on Josh Hart. I just think Josh Hart's a little bit too expensive for my blood, even on a 4-game slate. Now, I understand this is a guy that could go for 50, but he's got to do a lot of grunt work to get there. It is the Washington Wizards, so I get it. I got a little bit of Draymond, a little bit of Keegan Murray, but that's pretty much my pool at power forward. But once again, I just can't say enough, how much I like Kyle Kuzma tonight.
Yeah, I like the Kuzma play quite a bit as well. I ended up getting to about 28% Kuzma, 45% Giannis, 30% OG, and I'm going way under the field on Jimmy Butler today. I landed at 17% Jimmy Butler. Lead me on to center, Will.
Yeah, so center, I'm playing way more centers than I thought I was going to play tonight for a small slate. But I'm going to go to Mitch Rob here and just kind of talk about the fact that he's might as well be min price on DraftKings, which I like. So he's 3,100, I think it is, on DraftKings. So I've got 20% of Mitch Rob. Vucevic is much cheaper, so I've got about 35% of him. I do have some Karl Anthony Towns, 32% Towns, 23% Quentin Post. I've got some Vooch, I've got some Okongwu, I've got some Lopez, I've got some Sarr, I've got some Draymond. But all of those guys that I'm playing are as close to right with the field, some slightly under by 1% or 2, some slightly over by 1% or 2. But I'm not going to weigh that too heavy when I'm right with the field. But the guys that I'm over on by a pretty wide margin, Mitch Rob, Quentin Post, Karl Anthony Towns, Vucevic, and if you want to include Giannis in that, you can. But those are the guys that I'm over really by a pretty wide margin.
Yeah,
or 5% or more, rather.
I really love the idea today of, playing Rollins, Payne, and Mitch Rob, and then just spending up for whoever the hell else you want in all the rest of your lineups. Will, Tim, how about you? Center position, who do you like?
Yeah, I agree with Will. It's a great slate to pay down at center. So you got the Vucevic, you've got Post, you've got Robinson. I like them in that order. So I do like Robinson the least out of those 3 spend downs, but I think they're all viable in GPPs. And then pay up, it's obviously Cat. Mid range, you have Vucevic, you've got a Okongwu. But really, I think the optimal way to go about lineup construction today is to pay down for one of those 3 centers.
I'm with you 100% there, Tim. Great work, everyone. We still have about 10 minutes left till lock, so we will get your questions in, and then we will that's it. It's going to be locked. We got 10 minutes left, so get your questions in. YouTube chat, RotoGrinders live stream, Discord chat. If you're watching us on YouTube, smash that like button for us. We're still waiting on that McBride news. It's the biggest news of the night. LeBron is questionable, but we are very much expecting him to play tonight. Going to some questions here. Going to the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat first. Not too much going on over there. A couple people typing though, so we will get that. Tim and Will, I want to know for both of you, who would be your top stud tonight for DK single entry?
Man, it's got to be. Well, I guess we're not really considering Jimmy a stud. Are we saying studs you want it to be 10K and up? Is that what you want? Because if so, honestly, it's a small thing.
I think stud means whoever you want to build your lineup around today.
It's still probably Giannis, man. At 12K no game, it's Giannis.
It's still Giannis for me.
All right. If Kevin Porter Jr. is listed later to start for the Bucks, how much do we jump him over Rollins, or do we stay on Rollins anyway? What do you think, Tim?
I would play Kevin Porter if he starts, but I highly doubt that he will.
Yeah, same page as me. I do still think you can pay Kevin Porter Jr. You can play Kevin Porter Jr. regardless, but I'm with you. Absolutely. If he starts, you jump him, but I don't think he is going to be starting. If LeBron is out, would you pivot off of Giddey to Austin Reeves, Will?
No.
Tim, what do you think?
I would.
Yeah, I think Reeves would become a big priority for me as well if we get no LeBron today. QQ for Tim, who would be the low-owned play for DK single entry GPP?
So actually, I was just looking at this. I think actually it's Quentin Post. I don't think he's going to be super chalky because there's a lot of other strong value plays. I don't think he's going to get that steamed. So I like him.
All right, Will, what do you think of Mo Gee, the Atlanta power forward, as a run back for a Golden State stack?
No, X button.
Not needed at all. I agree. FanDuel tournament, Tim, Torian Prince and Luka, or Trey and Kuzma?
I guess it's Trey and Kuzma.
All right. What else do we got here? A lot of talk about Mitchell Robinson today, Will. How much Mitch Rob you getting to?
I got 20% on DraftKings. I'm not playing him on FanDuel, but on DraftKings, where he's pretty much min price, I'm plugging him in.
That was next question. Any Mitch Rob on FanDuel? But the answer is no. DK, Tim, Josh Hart, or Malik Monk?
I'm going to go Monk, but they're both decent.
All right. What do you think about OG Anunoby today, Will?
I think he's fine. Probably a better play on DraftKings than FanDuel, but I just think he's fine.
All right. Let me switch over here, see if we got anything. Bouncing back and forth, up between screens. Tim, who do you like better, Kevin Porter Jr. or Gary Trent?
Kevin Porter Jr.
Yeah, I would say Trent probably is, maybe more likely to get you 15 to 20 points, but Kevin Porter Jr. just has a much, much higher ceiling, I think. We are low on questions today. Not too many people are torn on a weekend, I guess, but any Champagne on FanDuel, Will?
I'm not playing them, but that's just me. I don't have any.
Marcus Smart or Gary Payton III, Tim? Restart?
I'd go. Well, I would restart, but if I had to pick between those two, it would be Gary Payton.
Any Brook Lopez for FanDuel GPP? Yes, I love Brook Lopez tonight. I think he's a great low-owned tournament play. If you're playing 3 Golden State Warriors, do you need a run back, Tim?
I actually do not think that you do. I don't think you need a run back.
All right. If you are locking in Cameron Payne today and just hoping McBride will be out, but instead McBride ends up in, who would you pivot to on DK shooting guard and then FanDuel point guard? I don't know if there's probably not a $3,100 player to pivot with on DraftKings. I think you just roll with Cameron Payne in that spot. He still looks decent enough unless you can just rotate your lineup around. But if that's, say, in the utility position, I'd rather Mitchell Robinson than Cameron Payne for the same price if Miles McBride happens to play. And then on the FanDuel side of things, what price is Payne over on FanDuel? Tim, do you know that offhand?
I don't, but I can look real quick.
$3,800.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's going to be one you just roll with Cameron Payne as well.
Yeah, I would just roll Cameron Payne.
Yeah, like this is a nearly 20-point spread as well. And so, like, while they absolutely load up the starters minutes for New York with nearly a 20-point spread, if this does get ugly, 2, 3, 4 extra minutes for Payne, that could be huge for a guy that is good of a point per minute producer as he is. Quentin Post or Hayes at FanDuel for FanDuel Center, Tim?
Post for me.
Is it smart to fade Giannis Antetokounmpo and play Kyle Kuzma for leverage tonight, Will?
I actually have them both in my main lineup on FanDuel, so I would say no. I don't think you should be fading Giannis on FanDuel for what it's worth. Like I don't think that's the right move.
And and if you are, I don't know that's necessarily leverage to get Kuzma in there anyways. I think they're both good plays today, but I don't think he really provides leverage off of Giannis too much for anything. Any Dorian Finney-Smith or Rui for FanDuel? Nope. Tim, what are your thoughts on 9.6K LeBron James on FanDuel if he plays?
I don't hate it. I prefer some other forwards today, but I don't think that's horrible.
Tim, who's breaking the slate?
I want somebody who's fairly not going to be super chalky. I'll go with OG Anunoby.
Tim or Will, how about you? Who's breaking the slate?
I don't know, man. I when I say I don't know, what I'm saying is, for some reason, man, I just got this feeling about Kyle Kuzma tonight. Give me Kyle Kuzma.
I like it. Tim, I don't really know how to answer this one. It's kind of worded poorly, not worded weirdly because we don't. This isn't a highly owned player, but they want to know: would you fade Luka?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah, well, he's gonna be like less than
unless we get news that LeBron's out sometime in the, early on in the night, But yeah, it's okay to fade Luka.
Definitely not a problem to fade him. I do think he's a guy that if you're running 150 lineups, that he's very easy to get overweight on because of how low owned he is. But a single entry, 3-entry max, definitely not a problem with fading him there whatsoever. Kuminga or Vukcevic on FanDuel, Tim?
They're both really, really strong. I guess I would side on the Kuminga side, but they're both good.
We got about a minute and a half left to lock, so make sure you get your lineups in. We are still waiting on LeBron James, who is questionable, but expected to play. And the other one that we really don't know on, it's a true coin flip, is Miles McBride, who is a game-time decision here for the Knicks. And if he is in, he looks like a very good play. You can still play Cameron Payne, his backup, because it's a big spread and he's so cheap. But if he's out, both sites, Cameron Payne is lock button type play. It doesn't matter if you're playing one lineup or 150. Cameron Payne is getting put in every single one of them if Miles McBride happens to be ruled out here. My player who I think is breaking the slate today, I'm going to go with Mitchell Robinson at $3,100. I just got a feeling he's going to be having a really big day today going up against Washington. So I'm going Mitch Rob as today's slate breaker. Shout out to Joe Whalen in chat, says it's his second time catching this show and he loves the breakdown. Thank you for joining us, Joe. Welcome to the team. We're happy to have you with us, and we're happy to have all of you in chat today joining us, hanging out. We appreciate you. All we ask is that you smash the like button, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. It is free content on the weekend. We will be back tomorrow, this same crew, TWT Sunday, for NBA Crunch Time an hour earlier because the slate starts earlier. So I believe it will be live at 5 p.m. Eastern time next tomorrow. And finally, we got one more question in chat, then we'll get out of here. I've got Giddey and Giannis and an extra $600 to pivot to Reeves and Luka if Braun is out. Seems like
he did the math wrong, he said. So he said, never mind, that doesn't work. Bad math.
Oh, okay.
Because I was gonna say definitely pivot if that works, but I guess it doesn't work. So yeah, but I would definitely be getting to Reeves tonight if Bronny sits. Definitely.
I like it. All right, that'll do it, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Smash that like button. Stay tuned for the LeBron James as well as the Miles McBride news. We will see you tomorrow for some more NBA Crunch Time. On behalf of myself, Will, and Tim, peace.